Major update for Pi Decentralized KYC Explained Intro. For years, people have watched Pi Network. Some have laughed, and some have been deeply skeptical. But for the millions of pioneers who kept the faith, a monumental shift is happening right now. This isn't just another small update. Pi Network just made its most significant move toward decentralization since it first launched. With the release of Protocol 23, KYC, or Know Your Customer, is no longer just a separate app. It's being burned into the core of the blockchain itself. This changes everything. It's the final switch many have been waiting for, validating years of patience and preparing the network for its ultimate goal, the open mainnet. So how does this new system of decentralized trust actually work? What are the technical gears turning behind the scenes to make it all possible? And most importantly, what does this massive update mean for the millions of pioneers eager to see their vision realized? We're about to break it all down. Section 1. The problem, the centralization bottleneck. First, let's talk about the huge problem Pi Network had to solve. How does a network with over 14.82 million KYC verified users, and millions more waiting, scale its compliance system in a way that's actually decentralized? For a long time, this was the biggest question mark hanging over the entire project. Historically, the KYC process, while absolutely necessary, was a bottleneck. It was handled centrally, which created frustrating delays for many pioneers who were ready to migrate to the mainnet. The skepticism from outsiders was loud and clear. They argued that a project promising decentralization was relying on a centralized system for its most critical function, identity verification. They said it couldn't scale and that it was impossible to be both compliant and community-driven. And for a while, the community just had to hold on and trust the long-term vision. This is where that feeling of vindication and victory comes from. For years, pioneers were told that Pi was going nowhere, but behind the scenes, the core team was quietly building a solution to one of the biggest challenges in the entire blockchain space. The goal wasn't just to verify identities, it was about architecting a system that could handle a global, diverse user base without a single point of failure. A system secure enough for institutions and accessible enough for everyone. That's the monumental task Protocol 23 was built to solve. Section 2. The solution, Protocol 23, and on-chain identity. And that solution is Protocol 23. This isn't a simple patch. It's a fundamental architectural overhaul that changes how Pi operates from the ground up. Let's break down the mechanics into two key parts. First, we have on-chain KYC enforcement. This is a total game changer. Think of it this way. Before, KYC was like an app running on top of the network. Now, with Protocol 23, it has been moved from being an app to being a core, native feature of the blockchain itself. The protocol, the very foundation of the network, will now check a user's KYC status before allowing certain actions. This isn't happening on some separate server. It's being enforced by the blockchain's own rules, powered by smart contracts that automate verification. This brings us to the second, and arguably most revolutionary part, decentralized KYC authority. For the first time, the responsibility for KYC is moving beyond just Pi's native solution. The core team is no longer the sole gatekeeper of identity. Protocol 23 introduces a framework where KYC authority can be delegated to other trusted third-party entities. This could include independent KYC service providers or financial institutions, creating a distributed, community-driven system for compliance. Crucially, this system is built on user consent. You, the pioneer, stay in control of your data. You decide which verifiers to trust and what information you share. Each verification record is cryptographically hashed and stored on-chain, making it tamper-proof and transparent. To support all this, the upgrade came with critical infrastructure enhancements. Protocol 23 brought official, standardized support for Linux nodes, which previously relied on custom community builds. This move dramatically increases the network's resilience by allowing nodes to run on stable, low-cost hardware like servers, further decentralizing its backbone. The entire protocol is also built upon improvements from the Stellar protocol, enabling greater efficiency and scalability designed to handle complex decentralized applications. Okay, we've covered the technicals of on-chain enforcement and decentralized authority. It's a massive leap forward. But before we get into what this all means for the future of your Pi and the open mainnet, if you're finding this breakdown valuable, do me a favor and hit that like button. And if you're a pioneer, make sure you subscribe, because you won't want to miss what's coming next. Section 3. The implications. What this means for everyone. So we have the what and the how. Now for the big one, what's next? What does all this mean for pioneers, for institutional adoption, and for the original vision of Pi Network? For you, the pioneer, this update is a huge quality of life improvement. The KYC bottleneck is finally being addressed head-on. With the introduction of fast-track KYC and the ability for third parties to assist, onboarding is set to become much faster. For the nearly 15 million pioneers already on the mainnet, your status is now more secure and deeply integrated. For those still waiting, this update is the light at the end of the tunnel. It also means greater privacy and control, since you manage who accesses your verified identity. Once you're verified on Pi, you might be able to use that identity across a whole ecosystem of future apps without repeating the process. Your patience is being rewarded with a more secure and efficient network. But the implications go far beyond the individual user. This is where we talk about institutional adoption and the path to open mainnet. This is the part that quiets the skeptics. By embedding compliance directly into the protocol, Pi is positioning itself as a regulatory-ready blockchain. This move aligns Pi with emerging global standards for digital identity, most notably ERC 3643. ERC 3643 is a token standard designed for permissioned assets, the kind institutions like banks and asset managers need. By adopting a similar framework, Pi is speaking the language of institutional finance. This makes the Pi ecosystem incredibly attractive for things like tokenized real-world assets, RWAs, and regulated DeFi. Think about it. A network with a massive, pre-verified user base that is already built for compliance. This is a ready-made market for institutional products. We're already seeing the market react to these developments. While the PEO price remains speculative, recent technical advancements have sparked renewed community engagement and positive price movement. This V23 upgrade is what helps transform Pi from a grassroots project into a protocol that can bridge the gap to mainstream and institutional finance. Finally, what does this mean for the founding vision of Pi Network? It means everything. This isn't just a pivot to attract big money, it's the fulfillment of the original promise. The goal was always to create a decentralized, accessible, and inclusive digital currency. But in today's world, true inclusivity requires regulatory compliance. You can't build a global financial system by ignoring the rules. Protocol 23 is the masterstroke that balances decentralization with real-world compliance. It allows Pi to remain a community-driven project while preparing it for a future where it can interact with the global economy. The shift is from being a purely speculative asset to a utility-driven blockchain. Pi is no longer just a payment network. It's becoming an identity infrastructure layer for Web3. So, let's tie it all together. Protocol 23 isn't just a technical update, it's a strategic repositioning of the entire network. By moving KYC on-chain and decentralizing its authority, Pi has addressed its biggest bottleneck while opening the door to institutional adoption. The official support for Linux nodes strengthens the network's backbone, making it more resilient and accessible than ever. For years, the story of Pi has been about potential. It has been about the promise of what a globally distributed, mobile-first cryptocurrency could be. With Protocol 23, that story is changing. The focus is shifting from potential to reality, from speculation to utility. The activation of these features on the testnet has already brought smart contracts and DeFi tools closer to reality, marking a final bridge toward the much-anticipated open mainnet. The road ahead will still have its challenges, with phased rollouts and testing to ensure stability. But make no mistake, the engine has been supercharged. The final pieces are locking into place. The vision of an inclusive, compliant, and globally adopted digital currency is no longer just a distant dream. It's becoming a reality one block at a time. This is a massive leap forward for the entire Pi ecosystem. What are your thoughts on this update? Do you think this is the final step before open mainnet? Let me know your opinion in the comments below, and if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. The next chapter of Pi Network is just getting started, and you'll want to be here for it.